Hey guys, thought I'd go over my first impressions on the Aprilia RS 457 from the perspective of a completely new rider. I bought this bike maybe a bit more than a month ago, and prior to that, I had no experience with motorbikes. I was never on two wheels outside of a regular bike. By the time I recorded this, I had completed the MSF course and taken this route to work maybe like 4 times total, with like 3 of them being at like 3 in the morning, so yeah, I'm very new to this. To cut straight to the point, yes, the Aprilia RS 457 is a great bike for beginners like myself. I actually recommend taking the MSF course first, as they'll start you off with bikes that feel similar to the RS 457, at least in first gear. And let me tell you, compared to the 125cc Suzuki that they gave me to ride, they handle very similarly in that you would have to absolutely max wrist either bike for a solid 2 seconds in first just to get to a place where you can seriously hurt yourself. So you have a lot bigger wrist tolerance to play with compared to a 600 or 1000cc bike, which will launch you off your bike immediately if you don't know what you're doing. That's not to say that this bike is slow. If you look at some of the acceleration tests out there, this has 0 to 60 of about 5 seconds, which puts this in the same performance range as like an entry-level sports car. I'm just trying to say you have time to course correct with this, and mistakes definitely do happen. I myself dropped my bike for the first time a couple of days ago, trying to practice getting my body shifted off the center during a tight turn, but I got right back up and continued riding. Did break my clutch lever though. I'll post my fall in the next video, I think. So what I've noticed so far is that this bike is fast enough to be fun, but slow and affordable enough where you can feel confident learning different maneuvers in a parking lot. Obviously, affordability is relative, but I mean in motorsports, you're probably talking about the floor here, right? I guess you could get a used Ninja or a Miata for cheaper, but not much to be honest. Now for this bike specifically, the first things that pop out at me as major upsides is that this bike is very light. It's built using an aluminum spar chassis, so it's a lot lighter compared to some of the steel Japanese counterparts with the same displacement numbers. And you can really feel it going into the curves. It doesn't take much to shift weight around, and it's a very good feeling. Also, this being an Italian bike, it definitely feels a lot more premium too. And like a lot of Italian stuff, it just looks really damn good. Like, I saw pictures of the bike, and I mean there's no comparison, especially in this prismatic dark color. It's just, well, chef's kiss. To the downsides, I'd say first and foremost is money. The Aprilia RS 457 has a MSRP of $6,900 at the time of posting this, but with all the tariffs, taxes, titles, you're probably looking at around 8 to 9k out the door. You throw in gear and it's basically 10 grand, or even over that to be honest. And believe it or not, the bike price is probably the cheapest thing when it comes to overall costs. What will really put you down is insurance. If you get anything above liability, I think it's fair to say you'll be paying a very inflated price compared to cars at least. Just to give an example here, I live in Atlanta with a clean driving history. I'm over the age of 25 and I'm paying in the range of $1,500 to $2,000 a year just for insurance. Then you start throwing in everything else depending on how far you want to take this. I think a single track day is like $200 to $300. Then wheels, then maintenance equipment, then lessons, then even more insurance, blah blah blah. To give the sport bike some sense of purpose, it piles up really fast. If you're more budget oriented, I would definitely recommend getting a used Ninja 400. I've seen a lot on Marketplace selling for like 5k, and while you won't save a crazy amount because it's still a sports bike, you will still be saving something for insurance too, last I checked. Used RS 457s are definitely rare to find, but they're still out there if you look hard enough. Overall, I'd say this bike is worth it. I don't regret buying it. Would a used Japanese bike have made more financial sense? Sure. And not to shit on Japanese bikes, over the long term, if I can build my skills, my dream bike to race would be the Yamaha R1N. But between how the bike looks and feels and the legacy behind the Aprilia, the brand at least. I'm happy with it, and at the 400 to 500cc range, I think this and the Ninja are probably the top choices when I was looking to buy my starter bike. I think I'll do a full review once I have more seat time on this bike and at least take it to a track once, and then I can give it a proper review as a complete noob. Until then, I hope this was useful in giving some insight on what my first impressions and thoughts are owning this bike at the very beginning of my journey. And please like and subscribe if you found this helpful.